Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to Coach's Playbook for Tuesday, June 8th, year of our Lord 2021. I'm joined by Hogue, Dan, Mick. I am Jack. Today, we are doing a segment that we try and do once a year, usually a little bit earlier than this, but we forgot, is what we're looking out for in the markets this summer. There's a lot happening out there. We'll dive into all of that. First, Mick, I understand we have a stone cold trader that is racking up the bucks. Who is it?
Yeah, shout out to Stone Yan, up about $2,400 trading the NASDAQ today. So good job.
Stone Yan it just sounds like either the hero or the villain. It can go either way in like a Jason Statham movie.
It's a strong name either way.
Yeah, strong name, strong performance. So a lot of stuff going on. We've got the Fed next week. There's been talks of inflation. We have meme stocks. There's a lot going on in the financial trading universe right now. And I think first up, I think we'll kick it over to Hogue because you've seen a number of summers along the way.
Can I just say one thing really quick that you just said and almost glazed right through? This term meme stocks. Brand new term to this industry, yet now every single person knows exactly what it is. I think it's a riot.
Dude, there's like 5 new terms from the last months. We have NFTs, we got meme stocks, we got 30 different altcoins that I've just become aware of. There's a lot of shit going on. So, Hogue, why don't you lead us through it? What are you looking at?
Well, yeah, I've seen a couple of summers in the industry, and I've seen some really, really good summers, and I've seen some not so good summers. And I think this summer is lining up to have some pretty decent opportunities, as you were talking about some of the newer terms that have been released into our industry, as well as the Fed and what they're going to do, and a lot of questions in crude now. Are we going to get back into this agreement with Iran? Are they going to bring more crude to the market? Equities are at all-time highs. It does seem as though we're kind of shrinking some of our ranges a little bit, but that's probably just this week because CPI is due out on Thursday. So, we all know that Europe takes basically the summer of August off. But I think we're still going to be seeing some pretty decent opportunities this summer.
Yeah, it's called holiday over there, I think.
Yeah.
Go away to North Africa on holiday. That's a very European thing to say. Speaking of that number Thursday, I've heard it, and I'll let Mick take it next, but I'll just do the aside that a lot of people, I hate the hedge like that. I shouldn't say a lot of people. Several analysts and stuff are saying that this is kind of the number of the year so far, the CPI number on Thursday, to see how sticky this inflation is. As many of you probably know out there, it's risen, but it's also being compared to stuff during the depths of the pandemic where there was deflation. So the numbers might look a little scarier, but this will give us a lot more clarity. So, Mick, I'm sure you'll be looking at that, but feel free to add whatever else you're looking at this summer.
Well, definitely. I mean, I think this number on Thursday is going to be important. I think we need, the markets are looking for information to process. There's some big information coming out, and I think people, we've had this grind up in equities, among many other commodity products, and I think, everybody's looking for more information. We're all seeing prices, going north and multiple products. So we need to see if that, there's anything new that we're going to get that's going to, change that direction or not. I don't have a lot to say other than that. I mean, summertime.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, well, summertime's a quieter trade, but we've been grinding up in so many markets. There's still a ton of participation, even though things tend to quiet down. So, let's see what we get. I don't really know what else to say.
Well, we'll find out too, is generally in the past when we've talked about the summer being slow in futures, it's because the markets have been dominated by professionals and institutions that will take time off or kind of pull it back during the summer. But we've seen a real shift towards retail traders. And I think it's yet to be seen are the people that are trading on Robinhood or whatever else. Are they going to take the summer off? I don't think so, especially since they have a lot of open trades and
I
some
think
pretty volatile.
It's a great point. I think most of that participation from the retail side of things is going to be involved in the equity indices. I don't think there's a lot of, retail participation in things like grains, metals, energies, as much as there are the equities. We here at Top Step, we've seen, a lot of our volume shift from other products, into the equities. Equities make up a huge percent of our volume in the funded accounts. When I started here years ago, that wasn't the case. We were predominantly, trading the crude oil, and now, it's crude oil is such a small percentage of our, our overall activity on a day-to-day basis.
Have people moved back to crude at all with the rally?
A little bit, yes. We've definitely seen over the last year a small increase. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen more. We've had some huge bull markets in so many products that I'm personally a little surprised that I haven't seen people trading the energies, the natural gas, the crude, the metals, the grains especially. That's never been, those products, those row crops and the wheat, those are products. We had Carol on a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about, interest in trading the grains. There's huge stories out there that are, we're not participating in. And, I'd love to see a little bit more color change in the products that our guys and girls are trading.
Nice. I'll throw it over to Dan after a quick question about that. Do you think there's some hesitancy to get into, as someone, I never traded the commodities or oil or corn or wheat. Do you think that there's some hesitancy that it's still sort of an insider-ish industry where there's so much of it comes down to knowing the supply and having the best information about farms and weather and stuff like that? Is it something that retail people can get that information, or is it still kind of the big boys kind of run that?
Kick it to Dan, and then I have an opinion on that myself.
Okay, we'll wait for that. Dan, what's your hot take on this summer?
Well, the summer's going to be fun. We got the Fed dialing back on releasing some of their assets, right? They were, for the pandemic and everything, they were buying about $120 billion worth of assets every single month. They have been really teasing at that they're going to start tapering that back. So you're going to start to see them dialing back their buying and releasing some of what they have. So that's going to be a huge factor this summer. I think is going to be really intriguing. It's 120 billion a month. There's a lot more money that comes into these markets every month, but that's a large chunk, especially if they start to sell off some of what they have. And that may ignite some directional moves. So that's something to keep our eyes on. We're seeing volatility is slowly starting to dip, as expected, right? We haven't had anything crazy happen. The things I'm going to be paying close attention to, other than what the Fed's doing, first off, we got the Olympics. Got to watch that. Always a fun time. And then on the flip side, I think crude oil is going to be a hot market this summer. Not only do we have a lot going on geopolitically when it comes to the oil industry, we also have our economy, not just ours, but all the economies around the world are starting to open back up and people are getting back in the cars and moving. I'm seeing it pretty regularly. 6 months ago, if I'm driving downtown Chicago at 6 o'clock in the morning, normally that's a hell of a drive with traffic. For 6 months ago, it was not. It was a very smooth drive in. I'm seeing extremely heavy traffic. My drive has been increased tremendously. So you are seeing a lot more demand for that oil. We have a lot of things that have happened here in the United States. We're seeing a lot happen externally with the oil industry that really could have some big effects on costs of oil, cost of gas. That's something we're gonna have to keep our eyes on. I think you're gonna start to see some people that were originally oil traders that left because prices were so low and ranges were a little bit tighter, that maybe they're gonna start getting back to the oil market. I think that's going to be an interesting topic to watch here. I think at the end of the day, though, it is summer, and the key is enjoy it. I cannot stress that enough. Get the hell away from the computers when you can. Don't feel like you have to sit here and trade 8 hours a day. Get out and enjoy it. enjoy some sun, enjoy some time away, spend some time with the family. And if you can take a whole holiday month off in August, do it.
Yeah, you mean I shouldn't be in the office with the curtain pulled all the way down to keep the sun out? There's two different markets going on right now, right? Where it's not very exciting. Hello, what's your dog's name again, Hope?
Hello, Lacey.
Hello,
Lacey wants in.
She's a pretty girl.
Yeah, we got some dogs today at the office too, Dan. So I think the two different markets I see in equities is, on one hand, you have the indices, which aren't doing anything right now, but then you have these all-out battles going on in certain stocks where the volume, it's like everyone's sitting waiting for information on the broader indices, and everyone's going in to trade. I'm looking at the volume on like BlackBerry right now, trading 200 million shares a day or something like that. It seems like there's extreme risk where you want to take it, but then everything else is kind of in a holding pattern until we learn more about inflation.
Yeah, guys, we got a couple questions.
Sure.
Oh, wait, we got to answer. Mick's got an opinion.
Yeah, why don't you gather the questions, Dan? Mick, give your opinion.
Sure. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you remembering me. So I think as far as, the attention to equity trading and stuff like that, that information is so readily available. You read about companies in the newspaper, you see it on the news, it's that information is provided to you. Whereas with other markets, you need to, sniff that out. You need to hunt down some of that information. So it's not that it's not there, but it's not presented to you. So if you want to go seek it out, you can do that. I think that's the difference between equities and other products. As far as crude oil goes, like Danny said, it's probably going to be an interesting summer, a hot market. I think it's going to continue to be a hot market. We've been, crude oil's been in an interesting state ever since, last May when last April, I think it was, when the May contract went negative, and we've just been in a bull market for the last 14, 15 months or so. And, we're right around contract highs. Crude oil is always a product too, that as you're coming into summer, people start talking about it. People are driving around, it's especially discussed around 4th of July holiday with people traveling, their travel plans. So crude oil is something that people always talk about during the summertime. Again, going back to the grains, we've got the planting season for the row crops, wheat's getting harvested. So there's a lot of stories there. That information, though, it's not going to be on CNBC like equities or, even oil or metal. So you need to kind of seek that stuff out.
Yeah. Dan has his questions. He's always thinking about crude oil because he drives like the Gravedigger, one of those obnoxious monster trucks.
Wait, we got it. We got a little background back here.
Oh, yeah.
See the rig.
What a truck. Some people have their children.
That's right.
This guy's truck.
Hey, it made a great bed this weekend, camping out with the Top Step team. Thanks to Mick.
Yeah.
All right. So we do have some questions coming in. First off, just shout outs to Lemur, Greg, Gino, Jerry is awake. Joshua, he's getting ready for his funded account, just waiting for his credentials. So congratulations, Joshua. Then we got two questions. First off, hello, Subconscious. So Gino's asking, will equity options play a greater role as retail traders will buy them as volatility drops?
That's a really good question. I think there's some I could talk personally. I'm involved in a little bit of that. And I've noticed that the options premiums on a lot of stuff are just huge. There's clearly a lot of people that are bidding up, put and call options, especially on the meme stocks that we mentioned. The question was, do we think they'll play a bigger role?
Yeah, as volatility drops. And I would just add into this, I think, it will, from a retail perspective, you're going to start to see some increase because of the ease of access to it. Robinhood introduced options a little while back. That has introduced a lot more people into this idea of options. I'm seeing more and more questions coming out about it. Will it have a huge effect on price? I think it's still a little to be determined, but I think the retail world is getting much more engaged with the options.
We definitely see it with, I feel like we never really talked about gamma squeezes a year ago. And now the options activity plays a huge role in these exploding prices on certain. If you look at GameStop or like during Tesla's huge run, a lot of that I think can be attributed to people buying tons of way out of the money call options. The market makers hedge their delta, moves it higher, and it's just a feedback loop. I worry we've gone through a year where stocks have gone nothing but up. I feel like there's a lot of retail people out there who are pretty leveraged and haven't seen the downside of leverage yet. So I'm more worried not from like a market structure state. I just hope that we don't see some sort of huge loss by the retail traders at some point.
That's good. Next question we got is from Brian. Just a quick question. He says, if I choose 150K combine account, will I get funded 150K if I complete the testing phase? Brian, if you go through the 150K combine, you get the same exact account when you hit the live market. So everything you get in step 1 and step 2 will be the same in your funded account. And then hello to Frederico. He's looking at a Tesla 570 puts.
As a man who has played that game and lost.
I knew Jack would have something to say about that one.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's what, 30 something percent off its high. But it's still, I mean, man, I've kind of switched where like this is a personal thing where I've been doing more like covered call stuff with Tesla. I've been wrong too many times. I narrowly avoided a huge disaster last summer being involved with that, and I don't have the blood for it right now. Anyone else have some thoughts?
No, I tend to stay away from too much of that with those types of stocks, and my options are more on the treasury aspect.
Yeah, you can call me lame or like not
or smart,
whichever one is.
You know where you shouldn't stand in and take risk.
The only options that I buy are either insurance, and I don't know what you're trying to do with this put there, are either insurance if I'm buying puts or like leap calls in a company I really believe in. But even then, I'm not putting them way out of the money or something like that. I do more option selling because I'm lame, but I like numbers. Anything else there, Dan, or do we want to?
No, that's what we got. Appreciate all the questions and comments, everybody.
Excellent. Well, I guess I have to go, and this kind of goes into it. I am really looking this summer to see the third act, we'll call it, of what happens with these Reddit stocks. I just find the whole thing so fascinating, and I would be shocked if the prices are around where they are now come the end of summer. I won't venture to guess where they will be, but there's going to be some high drama. So that's sort of my pick for the summer, what I'll be looking at.
Awesome. We have one last question here from Ryan. Just thoughts on Bitcoin. We talked about that just a couple weeks ago. So go back and look at one of our previous Coach's Playbook, and you can kind of get a lot of our opinions on it.
Yeah. There's a crazy article too, or at least I found it fascinating. They did a big expose in the New York Times, I think yesterday, about this Bitcoin convention they had in Miami. And
I have a friend I'm going to be with this weekend that was at it, and I'm very excited to hear some information about it.
It was like very fear and loathing in cryptocurrency. It's a hell of a market if you know what you're doing with it. But
I've heard some interesting stories so far about this Bitcoin convention.
It's like all the Ron Paul voters are out there. There's like a lot of like, it's just, we talked about it last week or the week before when we did our whole Bitcoin dive, but it really is like the weird going pro in cryptocurrencies. So I'll be watching that closely too. Hoagie, you look like you were going to say something.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's I guess U.S. Regulators or whoever were able to recover a lot of the ransom
from the Colonial Pipeline.
Yeah, from the Colonial Pipeline, and maybe I'm confused. It seems like it's a little bit more anonymous than to be able to chase specific transactions like that. But I was surprised that they were even able to do so. Now, what am I missing?
I read the article on that, Hogue. It's basically, I think the FBI just said that they can't say how because it's tradecraft. My understanding is that these hackers weren't they were basically using like basically they were like hacking affiliates where you can go on the dark web and buy programs that run ransomware and you give them a percent. It's like a weird closet industry. So it's hard to tell how sophisticated these people were. And apparently when you're on US networks through it, I assume that the company probably kind of like you put a dye pack in a suitcase. I assume there's something like that went on because you're right. They shouldn't be able to do it, but something's afoot.
They marked it somehow.
We got one last question here, and Hogue, you might be able to help with this one, or maybe Mick, because I don't look at this stuff. Do any of you guys use Elliott wave analysis? Do you think intraday makes any sense?
I do not.
Nor do I.
I've personally never looked at it. So unfortunately, I don't have much to say on it.
You know, the one thing I'll say about that is, sorry, John, if you don't mind.
Please go ahead.
There's so many different types of analysis and indicators out there. You have to test these things. Test them in a simulated environment. Don't assume real risk, but test them and try different time frames. Go back and look at, historical data and just, play out scenarios. You can, eyeball your back testing a little bit and, try and see if there's, any patterns that you see going back, looking through your charts on different time frames again, and see if it works. Because there's, hundreds and thousands of ways to skin a cat, and, something that means nothing to, somebody like me might be somebody else's bread and butter.
It's definitely one of those that I only know very surface level about it. It's one of those that seems kind of like voodoo to me, but well, let's put it this way. Like anything you don't understand is magic essentially. So if it's voodoo that works, I'd say like do mixed thing, test it out in a simulator. And if it works, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not necessarily if anything is going to work or not going to work. Everything works sometimes don't work. It's just something if you're into it, learn a lot about it. Wyckoff is a word I hear a lot, and that's I think based in kind of Elliott wave. So learn a lot about it. Start to look at it, use it consistently, and if you are finding that it's leading you to good opportunities, then by all means keep doing it. We've all been at this a while, and we have the things that we're looking at and the things that we use. Doesn't mean that Elliott wave or Wyckoff theory is not going to work for you.
I'll say one thing, and this might not be liked so much, but you could flip a coin, heads you buy it, tails you sell it, and as long as you're managing your money, I mean, you might be able to do okay with just doing that. So whether it's Elliott waves or anything else, if you're managing your money properly, you'd probably be able to string some stuff together.
Well, you ruined my idea for my hedge fund. So
I've heard a lot of guys say that exact same thing. It's all about risk management. You can flip a coin to buy or sell. If you manage your risk properly, you can possibly be successful. I'm going to say possibly there. I'm not going to say
let's
manage. You're going to be. No, there's a chance. There's a possibility.
Big asterisk there. But yeah, there's two parts. There's the entries are probably less than half the battle, we can say. It's more how you manage it once you got it on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think we're ready for a long, hot, possibly volatile summer. So that's fun. Dan, I understand you have a quote to send us off.
Well, it is summertime, and one of my favorite songs to listen to in summer comes from the great Mungo Jerry called Summertime.
I thought you were going to throw out Jimmy Buffett there.
That's exactly it. So why I picked a little line from his song that I thought would be a perfect one, because I did say get out and enjoy it. Have a drink, have a drive, get out and see what you can find.
Not in that order, but
don't drink and drive.
Right.
Yeah, drive and then drink if that's something you're into. Cool. Well, everybody, thanks for stopping by today. We'll be back next week. We'd love to do more of these. We're talking about maybe doing some some live things during economic numbers to kind of talk about the market in real time. So that might be coming down the pipe. So get amped for that. But in the meantime, Hogue, send us home.
I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, I was at home the whole time like everyone else.
Yeah, right. Well, let's make some money this summer. Everybody trade well.
See you next week, guys. Later.
Take care.